We will start with a wiring overview of our display board mounted 4-unit apartment system. So when we take a look on the back of the outdoor unit, first off you'll see that we have a 2-conductor connector, which is the power wire. All of our outdoor units do require their own power output. And then you'll also see that there are 4-wire conductor or 4-conductor connectors all connected, each going to one of 4 skyboxes. They're labeled CN1, CN2, CN3, and CN4, and they correspond with the 4 buttons on the front of the outdoor unit. So we'll return the outdoor unit back into place and take a look at our first of the 4 skyboxes. And if you will look, you'll see that we've got a 4-conductor connector and a power connector connected to the skybox. So that 4-conductor wire goes back to the outdoor unit and is connected on CN1. There's also a CN2 on the skybox. Those are actually for outdoor units 1 and 2. So you could have a second outdoor unit in case you wanted to have a front and back scenario. There's a hardwire Ethernet port that you can connect your skybox to the internet with, or you can do it via Wi-Fi. There are sets of jumpers on the unit. You do need to remove jumper 1. Please observe the key to make sure you remove the correct jumper. You will remove jumper 1 if you have multiple skyboxes in your installation. In this case we have 4 skyboxes, so we do have to remove jumper 1. Also in the upper left corner you'll see a label with a number 38 in this case. That corresponds with the plug-in chime module of the same number. That plug-in chime module communicates or gets a trigger from the skybox wirelessly, so that when the skybox is triggered by the doorbell, it will ring the indoor chime, as long as the chime module is within radio frequency range of the skybox. Configuration begins with the factory reset of the skybox. Using the legend on the back, you can see which is the reset button. So what you'll do is you'll remove the power to the skybox, re-establish power, and within 3 seconds press and hold the reset button. You'll be pressing and holding this reset button for almost a minute for it to do the full reset.
No, you heard a long beep sound.
The skybox will emit a long beep sound, and after that it will do another reset on its own for 1 minute, and it will be ready for configuration using the ControlCam 2 app. There are a couple of notes with the ControlCam 2 app that you should be aware of. Number 1, each mobile device, so that's each phone, each iPad, anything that has the ControlCam 2 app installed on it, needs to have its own logon credentials to the app. So it needs its own username and password to get into the app. And this is so that the servers can properly manage the ring-in notifications to each of the devices. So again, each mobile device needs its own logon to the ControlCam 2 app. The ControlCam 2 app logon credentials do not need to include an email address or anything like that. The username can be any unique name. That of course is not already assigned to someone else on the servers, but any username, any password using the standard characters is acceptable. And finally, it is good practice to turn off your cellular or mobile data during the skybox configuration. During configuration, some phones default to looking for an active internet connection, and when you are connecting via Wi-Fi directly to the skybox as a access point or hotspot, there is no internet connection, and thus your phone may automatically default back to cellular data And in such a case, it will be disconnecting from the Skybox during configuration and basically will cause your configuration to fail. So for this configuration, we're going to use an iPhone 6s with the Control Cam 2 app installed on it, and we'll open up Control Cam 2. We already have our log on to this unit, so we're just going to add a doorbell, and it will be doorbell 1. All Skyboxes are configured as doorbell 1, and then we hit the hotspot. When we read the instructions on the unit, it does say to ensure that your Skybox is factory defaulted, which we've done, and also to make sure that your phone, that device, is connected to 2.4G Wi-Fi. It must be 2.4G. Okay, we hit the next key. It comes up with our Wi-Fi name. Make sure that Wi-Fi name is your 2.4G network, and enter the correct password for your network. Now, as you see, when we hit the next button, it gives us an error, and that's because if we read the directions there, it tells us that at this point, we must connect to the Wi-Fi of the actual Skybox. So we'll look in our list of Wi-Fi, look for the LIDAW, whichever, and we'll connect to that Wi-Fi. So this gives us a direct link to the Skybox. Then when we hit next, our phone will push the configuration parameters, that would be the password, to the Skybox. And the Skybox at this point will take about 1 minute to reset. Okay, it does say there that it successfully sent the data. So now when you hit next, it brings us into the screen where we will actually be entering the credentials of the actual Skybox. So that's why we enter the default password of 1234. We make sure that we have cellular or Wi-Fi data, and that's when we can hit save, and that will save our system to the cloud, and that concludes the actual configuration of the Skybox. If your Skybox is properly configured and is connected to your Wi-Fi, you can go back into the app, click on the icon, and you should be able to see video from the camera. Now that we know that your Skybox is properly configured for connection to the internet, we need to register your Skybox to the Ring-In notification servers. This is done by going into the Ring-In settings. You'll notice in the Ring-In settings that there are 3 modes. There's silent mode, which is pretty self-explanatory. It silences all Ring-In notifications. There's global Ring-In. Global Ring-In enables all the doorbells that are registered on your device. So if you have multiple doorbells, one at the office, one at the vacation house, one at your main house, one at the gate, they will all ring in if you have global Ring-In enabled. And then there's selective Ring-In. You can have multiple doorbells registered to your device, but you may only want certain ones to actually ring in. And in the selective Ring-In, you do have the ability to turn on or off certain Ring-In notifications from certain IP doorbells. Pressing save at this point will save your configuration to the Ring-In notification servers. So now it's time to test the configuration. We'll hit number 101 on the outdoor unit. As you see, the Skybox 101 is lighting up, and we do see a notification come up on the iPhone. With iPhone, unfortunately, Apple does not allow us to access the app directly from the sleep screen, so we do need to enter our passcode into the phone first before we can open the app. Once you're in the app, you're able to talk to the person at the door. You have full video too, and you can also unlock the door using the app. So now we can demonstrate all 4 program Skyboxes with 4 different phones. We have a Google Pixel, a Huawei, a iPhone, and a Samsung. So we'll press 101, which you see 101 is flashing, and then also you see the Google Pixel picking that one up. You'll notice that when we ring to an Android phone with the system, that you can go immediately from the lock screen into the app without having to unlock the phone. And when you're done in the app, it does allow you to just go back to the lock screen again. So each one of these phones is capable of unlocking the door as well. So here we are paging an iPhone, and you'll see with the iPhone we did have to unlock the phone to be able to access the app. That is with iPhone only. Most Androids just go straight to the app. And that unfortunately is a function of the Apple iOS itself, just for their security reasons. And finally we pressed 401 to ring the last phone, the Galaxy. And as you see, straight from the lock screen, we can go right to the app, and we can communicate with the guest, and we can unlock the door. So now let's take a look at the process of adding an indoor monitor. Here we have an indoor monitor added to our first Skybox. So when we look at the connectors, it would be connected to CN1. In this case, of course, you can hook it to any of the Skyboxes you like. But we have it hooked to CN1. The wiring is in parallel, going to the back of the indoor monitor. And the indoor monitor has 2 connector inputs, 2 4-conductor inputs. That's for CN1 and CN2, again for a front and rear door station. And on your Skybox it's the same, front and rear door station. So just make sure that they're hooked up to the same connector, so CN1 and CN1 in this case, and that the wires are all hooked in parallel. So just match the colors to the same colors. Okay, so now as we struggle to put that back on the board, when we hit 101, it comes up with the video on the screen automatically, as well as the ringtone. And simultaneously it also connects to your mobile devices through the Skybox. So either unit, your indoor unit or your mobile devices, can talk to your guest and unlock the door. Now we'll take a quick look at the wires included with your Skybox. There are 2 color-coded 4-conductor harnesses, or pigtails. Those correspond, are meant to be hooked up to connector 1 and connector 2, which would equate to being outdoor station number 1 and outdoor station number 2, or front and back. Being as this system is a parallel bus system, you could really use these harnesses anywhere in the system that you see fit. If you need to make an extension of a cable. It also comes with a pre-made 1 meter 4-conductor cable that would be used in instances where you have the Skyboxes located close to the outdoor station. In some cases, in many cases, people mount the Skyboxes all behind, or in the room behind the outdoor station. Another optional accessory we carry is the centralized power supply. This single power supply can power up to 4 devices. Up to 4 Skyboxes is what we would use in this case. Certain instances you may want to use it to power 3 Skyboxes in the outdoor unit. This will eliminate the wall clutter of all of the different power adapters that you'd have for 4 different units. And it can be purchased directly off of our website at gbfelectronics.com.